Kindness. We all think we know what it is, right? But do we really understand just how powerful it is? Today, we're going to dig deep. We're talking about the chemicals it literally releases in our brains, all the way to how it can make or break our careers and build our communities. So let's get into it.
We usually think of kindness in these small moments, holding a door open, maybe giving a compliment. But what if it's way more than that? What if it's actually a fundamental force for our own well-being and even for the health of our society? Let me show you a really powerful example of what I mean. Just imagine you're at the store, you're stressed, and a complete stranger says these words to you. It's a pretty powerful statement, isn't it? Well, this is exactly what happened to one woman who found herself in a really awkward, kind of stressful situation.
So, picture this. She's at the grocery store, she's all ready to check out, and then she gets that awful sinking feeling. Her wallet is at home. As she's telling the cashier she has to leave everything behind, this man who just paid for his own stuff overhears and makes that absolutely stunning offer. And here's where it gets really interesting. The only condition he gave wasn't about paying him back. It was about paying it forward. He just trusted that his one single act of kindness would create its own ripple effect. This moment, it just shows us that kindness isn't a transaction. It's an investment in each other. The woman was just so humbled, and the man said it would make his day. Now, that's not just a nice thing to say. There's a real biological reason that giving feels just as good as receiving, maybe even better. And believe it or not, science actually has a name for this feeling. That feeling is called the helper's high. It's that warm glow you get when you do something good for someone else. And it's not just in your head. It's a real, measurable thing happening inside your brain. Our brains are literally hardwired to reward us for being kind. When we're generous or helpful, our brain's pleasure and reward centers just light up, and they release this amazing cocktail of feel-good chemicals. So let's break down this so-called kindness cocktail. First, you get a hit of dopamine, which is the same chemical tied to reward and pleasure. Then you've got serotonin, which helps regulate your mood and makes you feel happier, calmer. And to top it off, there's oxytocin. People call it the love hormone, which lowers stress and helps us build trust and social bonds. It's a seriously powerful mix. And the results are totally tangible. Studies show that being kind can actually lower cortisol, which is the body's main stress hormone. At the same time, people who practice kindness regularly just report higher life satisfaction. So you're not just making someone else's day better, you're actively improving your own mental and physical health. But, okay, what happens when we take this out of our personal lives and bring it into the workplace? All right, let's zoom out from our own brains and look at what kindness, or, a lack of it, does at work. You might think that job performance is the only thing that really matters, right? Well, a really fascinating study suggests something else entirely. Take a look at this number, 65%. What do you think this represents in a workplace? Is it employee satisfaction? Maybe a productivity gain? Nope. It's actually something way more surprising. Get this. In a study at one nonprofit, researchers found something stunning. 65% of all employee departures, whether people quit or were fired, weren't about competence. They were about a lack of kindness and emotional intelligence, things like self-awareness, empathy, and just how people manage relationships. This just goes to show you that these so-called soft skills have incredibly hard consequences. An environment that's missing kindness and empathy, well, it doesn't just feel bad. It actively pushes people out the door. In this case, it did so even more than poor job performance. So, kindness isn't just about avoiding problems. It's actually the foundation for building something positive. It's the glue that holds teams together, and as we're about to see, it holds entire communities together too. And this whole idea of kindness as a community builder isn't new. It's a cornerstone of traditions all over the world. This ancient passage, for instance, it highlights the virtue of giving to others, even when you don't have much yourself. It's a spirit that's just beautifully embodied in practices like sharing food during Ramadan. When a meal is shared, it's about so much more than just the food. It's an act that creates hope. It reminds people who are in need that they're not alone. And these small acts of generosity, they just ripple outwards, strengthening the entire social fabric through shared empathy and compassion. It turns an individual act into this collective experience of belonging. So this takes us to our final and maybe our deepest way of understanding kindness.
We've seen its personal side, the science behind it, its social impact. But what if kindness isn't just a series of actions? What if it's a fundamental way of being? A philosophy for how to actually live your life? You know, when we think about being a good person, we usually focus on our actions, the things we do. But there's this ancient philosophy called virtue ethics that totally flips that idea on its head. Instead of asking, what's the right thing to do, it asks, what's the right way to be? The whole focus shifts from your actions to your character. For ancient philosophers like Aristotle, the ultimate goal of life was to achieve something called eudaimonia. It's this amazing Greek word that means a state of human flourishing and deep fulfillment. It's so much more than just being happy in the moment. It's about living a truly good, meaningful life. And the path to get there? Well, it was by cultivating virtues, like kindness, until they become a part of your core character. So, how do we actually build this kind of character? Aristotle basically laid out a roadmap. We all start with our natural tendencies, the raw material we're born with. Then, through habituation, which just means practicing kind acts over and over, we build good habits. Over time, this becomes a conscious choice. We act kindly not just out of habit, but because we know it's the right way to be. And eventually, it becomes a stable part of our character. Kindness is no longer just something we do, it's part of who we are. And this brings all of these ideas, the personal story, the brain science, the workplace data, the community spirit, it brings them all together into one final, really powerful question. After everything we've looked at, the question isn't just about whether we should perform a random act of kindness. The deeper challenge is whether we can cultivate kindness into the very core of our character. Is it a switch we can just flip on and off, or is it the person we're trying to become every single day? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.